am recording.
Ba, ba, ba. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 642nd episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Hannah.
I am here. I had luck in one of the Pokemon apps this week, but only one.
Fine. Tune in to find out which app that's going to be. Bobby also here.
Hello, I'm back. I'm not in my office. I'm in a garage, but I'm here.
Part of the terms of service for Hannah and Bobby is one of them has to be in a different location at all times when we're recording this episode. Any episode. Those are the rules. We have kind of like 3 topics this week. And I'm traveling, so fun. If you're listening to this on Monday morning, I should be on the twitch.tv/Pokemon, the official Pokemon channel. I wasn't able to announce this until Friday, and I think the Pokemon company tweeted it today on Saturday, the day we're recording this. They're flying me out to their offices because they want me to showcase the holiday merch. That's what they told me. So that's cool. That's exciting. That was all very last minute. If you've listened to this podcast for more than 10 episodes, you have slowly maybe realized that the Pokemon company loves to do everything last minute. I think that's like most big companies, though, where like things just get stuck.
I wouldn't
and you were waiting
say
for approval.
everything, but yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe me slamming merchandise for Instagram Reels and then opening them was like, we need this guy to come out here to open some merchandise. It's really flattering. It's always weird to be like tweeted out by the Pokemon company or to be on. They told me that this is like the first ever live stream they're doing from their offices.
Wow.
So that's cool. I'm sure my LinkedIn profile will love that information. Just soaring. So I'll report back from that. So anyways, our 3 topics for the show are we're going to revisit Gigantamax since Bobby is here, and also Gengar just happened. Find out in 5 minutes whether Hannah or not did a Gengar. And then there's a brand new TCG set, which Bobby has more details than I do on that, and probably a lot of thoughts on that. And then a brand new mobile app just came out, which is TCG Pocket, which I played in New York a couple months ago, and now it's out here for everyone. And we're going to spend the majority of the episode talking about that. So that's exciting. So Gigantamax, we had a very mixed episode last week with comments and reactions. Hannah did not get to do any. Al, surprisingly, very positive. I didn't think Al would be so positive, but he went out. He got it done. I loved it. I got called to shill for that. That's cool. That's fine. I bring up Destiny raids and Final Fantasy raids and Sword and Shield, Scarlet and Violet raids consistently. I love raid content. It's just like something I like. So I'm not surprised I like the raid content. Bobby, did you get any Gigantamax raids done?
I did not. No. I was the last couple of weeks have been pretty busy, so I did not have a chance to get out there. I will say I agree with Hannah's point last week about it just being there for a day was a little bit of a bummer for the first 3 for Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise.
Oh, the weekend?
It was 2 days, but one weekend.
Days. Sorry, for the weekend, for the one weekend. I think it would have been cool if they would have done it like a second weekend, or maybe maybe they will, like maybe next month there's like a weekend that they do it again where it's like pretty close, where you could do it, have another shot at it. But no, I didn't have a chance to do those. I did read a lot about it. I was really interested in how these things were going to work and how it was going to be different from the Dynamax raids, which obviously we now know how different it is from the Dynamax raids. But so I was very interested in it in that way. But between just being busy and not really wanting to go find a group of 20 or more to do it with last weekend, I did not get anything done.
Did you feel the FOMO that I believe Hannah really stressed that she felt?
No, actually, so the thing about Dynamax and Gigantamax Pokemon for me is one of the things that I love doing in Pokemon Go, aside from catching Pokemon, is taking the pictures of Pokemon. And at the moment, you can't take a picture of a Gigantamax Charizard or a Dynamax Pokemon. That only happens in battle, right? So for that, it kind of allows me, or at least I'm telling myself this, to not feel like I want to go do them at the moment. So that's been okay. But the more that I was hearing about it over this last week, like the more I was hearing you guys talk about it, the more I was watching a couple YouTube videos about it. I was more intrigued just because it's nice to have a different way to battle that isn't just mashing the attack button over and over, and not including PvP, but like a different
Hey,
way
we've
to
done
raid.
it for 7 years. We can keep on mashing for another 7 years.
And that's fine. We have the regular raids for all the mashing attack we want, but like it's nice to have a way, like a different strategy, and it kind of like gives me reason to actually invest resources into things. Like to I think it was Steve pointed this out. Like I don't spend my Stardust on anything because I don't PvP, and I've got raid Pokemon that have been set up for years now that just work to do regular raids and legendary raids. So it is nice to have something else to build up or something else to work toward. I think that is pretty cool.
Have you been investing in the Dynamax at all so far?
I was, because I wasn't doing a whole lot of Dynamax raids to begin with. I did a few and got some good Dynamax Pokemon. And then I was investing in those Pokemon with like the particles. And as far as like candy, I know a lot of people are like the candy and everything, but all the ones that I've invested in are the Pokemon who had like community days, right? So like the Charmander, Bulbasaur, the Beldum, those. So it's been fun to just like invest in that stuff. So yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's cool. I think that the only issue, which I know was echoed multiple times last week, is that no one was prepared for how to do these raids because they never prepped anyone for how to use the other moves that they gave us.
Yeah.
There was no in between where we were like, let's have a Dynamax Pokemon that you have to use Max Guard or Max Spirit against and have a few more people than just like soloing it. I mean, Phalanx, nobody was doing a Phalanx with like 5 or 6 people. For the most part, people were figuring out how to solo Phalanx or maybe do it with like one other. But
yeah, it was
even
really
in that
easy
case,
to duo Phalanx.
yeah, you didn't need to Max Guard or Max Spirit for that. So it would have been nice if they would have maybe just told people that, like, maybe told people to like, hey, maybe look at actually using or powering up those other moves.
Well, they can
going
tell you
into
as
this
much as
weekend.
they want. They can tell you how many people they're going to need to do this raid, and I really think people just needed to experience the potential failure.
Well, if that's the,
I 100% agree.
I'm not against that, but then for these 3 starters, again, give it another weekend. Like, give
Yes.
another shot at some time that's in a closer proximity to when you're first doing it, because it is. And I guess I feel like I'm just echoing some of the points you guys said last week.
No,
But
it's okay.
it
Your opinion's valid.
it is disheartening to like go out to do the work of going out, finding a group, especially if you're not in a place where that's easy to do. I mean, again, Steve, you live in a big city. I live in a big city. It's not hard. Like, it wouldn't be hard for me to go find I live in the 8th biggest city in the country. Like, it wouldn't be hard for me to go find a group if I really wanted to. But there are so many places where it takes work to like know, okay, I'm going to go find a group. I'm going to go meet up with them for everything it takes to do these raids as well. It's like, we're going to go through all of that. And then to fail, and not have the time to like, or the potential resources in that moment to get everything switched up to do it correctly is a bummer. And so it's like, if they would have been like, okay, here's the first weekend, people would have done it, failed. Oh man, that's such a bummer. And then here's the second weekend, and you have that second chance to go and get those 3 starters. I mean, to your point, like they're going to come back, right? It's the Kanto starters. They're going to come back 50 times, and we're all going to be sick of it in like a year. But it's a bad first impression, right? You don't want to have that bad first impression of Gigantamax raids and then have people just like, well, I'm not going to go do Gengar. These were terrible. I had a terrible experience. I'm not going to go do any more of this feature. You don't want to have that. And that is what it feels like a lot of people came away with this last weekend, to me.
And I
from
think
what
that's why they
heard.
made Gengar, and so far only Gengar, quote unquote, easier.
Right.
Slightly easier. Niantic stressed to me and other creators to say slightly easier.
Yeah.
I have quote, and make sure when we say slightly, we mean slightly.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I do
there
think
were groups of 4 taking it down, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
But Blastoise was completed with a group of 8 last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think the other thing that was a bit odd is, or not maybe odd, just maybe not the right move. Don't introduce 3 at once. Like, introduce one Pokemon for people to focus on, not all 3, because there's so much to have to use, so many resources you have to use to get. And I know that once you got the Charizard, then you could use the Charizard against the Venusaur, and then the Venusaur against the Blastoise. And I understand that. But going into it initially, like, if I'm going to prep my teams for what's going to potentially happen, just if you're introducing the mechanic, just give us one Pokemon at a time to start. Like, this is the company that still hasn't given us Mimikyu, like how many years later, and they want to give us 3 Gigantamax Pokemon right off the bat. Like, it's just surprising.
Yeah, I think there were a lot of people emotionally charged last week of, well, multiple reasons, right? There is the, I will never have 40 people, or I will never have 20 people, or I can't even get 10 people. And that's like a completely valid complaint. Yeah. I think where I was trying to speak from last week was from a gameplay perspective. I think that if you have the people there, the actual raid is really cool. Mm-hmm. In a perfect world, if you can get 40 people together, and those 40 people are broken up into 10 groups of 4, and in that group of 4, you have a healer, you have a tank, you have 2 DPS. It is so much more interesting than just tapping your screen. Yeah. It is like this end game content. It's new content. Mm-hmm. It's also content that is completely ignorable. If you don't care about Gigantamax, if you were like, I already got a shiny Charizard, I already got a shiny Gengar, I don't care if this one can get bigger. It is in its own pocket of the game that you can completely ignore. Yeah. And maybe there will be a mythical quest down the line. Like, I think, what is it? Like, Shaman is like, get like 10 best buddies or something, and people have ignored the best buddy system. Like that could
for a long time.
I'm sure there's tons of players that ignore the best buddy system. I like it. I think it's like, I don't know. I enjoy it. But that's where I was like really coming from. I also think that like, this is not unique to, like, there are some things unique to Pokemon Go, like getting 40 people in person. That is unique to that game, right? Yeah. But I don't think the raid culture is honestly that unique, right? Like, understanding roles and understanding that there might be failure and then adjusting to that failure exists in a lot of games that have raids. If you were to play Final Fantasy XIV or World of Warcraft, people are not clearing bosses on their first try. They are failing bosses 20, 30 times in a row, and they are adjusting, and I can say this as somebody who has 3,000 hours in Final Fantasy XIV. It will, like, the only way you're clearing them the first time is if everyone exactly knows what they're doing, but all it takes is 1 or 2 people in a raid of like 8 to not stand in the right position. And
Right.
then all of a sudden that whole raid fails and everyone's like, okay, no big deal. We can just do it again.
Well-
And I don't think Pokemon players have enough of that experience because raids are relatively new in both main series Pokemon games.
Right.
And I would argue this in Pokemon Go because the current raid system was just tap, tap, tap. But I will say there was a point in time, and I think Pokemon Go players maybe forgot this, where we were struggling to get 8 to 12 people to do a Tyranitar raid.
Yes.
And now and because the game is so old, we don't even think about that anymore. It's like, a 3 or 4 star raid here. I'll just bring in my Kyogre. I'll just bring in my Groudon. I'll just bring in my Shadow Mewtwo. Raid is done.
Yep.
But there was a point in time where raids were difficult and we worked our way up and we got through it. And in this case, really the Charizard, again, ignoring that you need, 20 to 40 people, there was that it kind of did remind me of like that Tyranitar situation of like, I don't know, are we going to have enough people to do this Tyranitar? Everyone really wants Tyranitar because Tyranitar is really good for raids. Like these Gigantamax Pokemon are really good for other Gigantamax raids.
So,
well, yes.
There's 2 things I'll say to that. One is I agree. Like I'm thinking back 7 years when we had Articuno and Lugia spawn, and I was not beating Articuno and Lugia every time that I was going out and raiding because we did not get enough people to raid them, or we were figuring out what minimum we needed and how we needed to power up our Pokemon to do it and all of that. And that's totally true. And it was the same. It's kind of the same as what we're seeing now. There's 2 differences. One is that was all happening when this game, like pre-2020, the game has changed, and it's changed people's like way they play the game since the introduction of remote raids and just playing the game differently. Like I understand that Niantic, their goal is to get people out and get them into a community and playing the game together. And I don't have any problem with the fact that that's what they want to do. But I think that people were so used to, and I know there were people that complained about like the legendary raids being too hard at that time too, but we were all used to going to do raids at a place together. Like, you knew you were going to have to go to a place and do raids, and there wasn't ever an option obviously of doing them remotely or anything like that. And I think once they introduced remote raids, it changed a lot of perspectives on like going and doing things, and people not going out to go and be as social for a lot of other reasons as well, for a period of time. And that's not fully like, I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where the game is like it was before all of that. So and I'm not saying that they need to make remote raids like remote Gigantamax raids or anything. I'm just saying that it's different.
They can.
It's different than it was. So I can see, even though it feels the same in the sense of like, this is a thing that happened and now it's kind of happening again. The game, the way the game is played is just different than it was at that point in time. So that's one thing. And the second is, even though these will potentially get easier over time for people because that's just the way that these things go, it's still a first impression. And you don't want that first impression to feel so negative. And the difference between like doing raids in a game like World of Warcraft or Destiny or things like that is that, you can do them 30 or 40 times. You can redo them. You can do things like that. In this, I think what a lot of people may have had a problem with, or from what I could see, is that they were told, okay, you're going to go and you can do these raids today or Saturday and Sunday, and bring your Pokemon and power things up. But nobody knew nobody knew that there was a difference of what they should be doing. Like, even like you were saying, like people have to experience the failure to like fully get it. But they didn't try to explain to people that, hey, these Gigantamax raids are going to be different than anything that you've dealt with over the last 7 years.
Well, to an extent they did. The Gigantamax raids function similarly to the Dynamax raids, and they did tell us that we would need a lot of people.
They did tell us this was end game content. So I agree with you. I agree with you, Bobby. I totally agree that like they didn't tell us what to do it, how to do it. I agree that this is a bad first impression. But when a company says, hey, this is end game content, and people are showing up with Sobbles and Score Bunnies and Charmanders, you could tell them what to you told them this is end game content and they couldn't even evolve their Ghastly.
But okay, but beside the fact that like you're always going to have people who are bringing in Sobbles and Ghastlies and Charmanders. That's not my point. I'm not saying that like. My point isn't like people are going to be people. My point is that the company that makes the game and is making the experience for people should be doing everything in their power to make that a positive experience for people. You have introduced a mechanic, and then in the mechanic that you've introduced, you've never made it so that people actually have to use the other moves or understand that there is a strategy aside from mash attacking in those Dynamax raids. And then you bring them out for one weekend to get the 3 Kanto starters, which are obviously some of the most popular Pokemon that exist, and then aren't telling anybody like, oh, you know those other 2 moves that we introduced, but like you've never had to touch before. They're really actually really important, and you need to actually use them.
They're easily the 2 best moves ever.
Right.
Like Max Guard and Max Spirit are so powerful.
But like, and the point is, like, my point isn't that like, yeah, people are going to be people. People are still going to not do the thing. But as the company, I feel like you should be trying to allow people to understand that in some way. And there was no communication.
They should have released
a
4-star or a 5-star raid where you might have felt compelled to teach Max Guard. Like, I think Trainer Tips had probably one of the best videos about it.
Yeah.
And I can sum it up in like one sentence. He said that Niantic gave us more than enough time to be ready. They just didn't tell us how to be ready.
Right.
And 1,000,000% agree with that. I still think I know I always use Destiny and I always use Final Fantasy. I'm gonna compare this to Pokemon. When Mewtwo came to Sword and Shield, people joined that raid with like Sinistea or their shiny Grookey or like whatever Pokemon, because 5-star raids, which was the max raid at the time in Sword and Shield, were the hardest content. And the problem with raids, it's not really a problem, but how those raids were designed in Sword and Shield were, it didn't matter if you used Sword Stance, it didn't matter if you used Acid Spray, because you were going to hit a damage threshold. That damage threshold was going to trigger a shield. You could literally use Tackle against that shield, but you had to do it. You had to just hit 3 moves anyways, or 5 moves to break that shield to then hit the second damage threshold. Mm-hmm. And so because people were so accustomed to just bringing their favorite shiny Pokemon at level 100, they would lock into this Mewtwo raid with just their favorite shinies, and they got absolutely destroyed. And it wasn't until, it took, I don't know what, an hour before people figured out, okay, like Marshadow is really good, or like this Pokemon is really good, or we need something else. Mm-hmm. And then they eventually did that. Right. And that happened in Pokemon Go, right? Like people are like, when you're joining a Lugia and there's 20 people joining a Lugia, it is literally like, I'm just going to auto recommend, okay, Chansey, Stantler, the Score Bunny, Raboot, and people have 7 years of just being like, I just tapped the button, and that's what happened here. Yeah. So like, I am agreeing with you 100%. Yeah. But like, and I am agreeing that Niantic should have done more, and I'm agreeing there probably should have been a 4 and 5-star raid. But I am also saying that there are just, even this weekend, even with Gengar, there are still people showing up with Ghastlies. There are still people showing up with Score Bunnies. I don't like, did they miss the message that this is end game content? That this is like, you don't have to be like max level. You don't have to be level 50. You don't have to have level 50 Pokemon, but maybe you should like evolve your Ghastly. I don't know. Like
they're still not making it super. I feel like they're still not making it super clear that this is quote unquote end game content. And along with that, a lot of people only come out to the bigger events to get the special Pokemon. And so if you are only going out to the bigger events and you're not playing the game as much on the other days, but you want to go and get this Gigantamax Pokemon, and then you open up the game, and there are literally no Dynamax Pokemon you can catch to build up a new team or get other Pokemon that are stronger than the ones you currently have. You literally can't improve on your team unless you already have those Pokemon on that day. You can't iterate and get better in the same day. You have to be able to come back at the next event on the next weekend.
Yeah.
Which
And
is
I
kind of
think it feels like there's more at stake because you're actually like, you actually have to go somewhere. Like you have to leave your house and actually like plan out a portion of your day to go like somewhere. Whereas in like Sword and Shield or Scarlet Violet, like you can do that at home. Like if they remote rated the Gigantamax and you could like do it, I just think there's more. It feels. All I'm saying is, I do understand where people were coming from last week in their anger, but I actually I will say I do like the way that the Gigantamax raids work. I think this is a great mechanic, and it's gonna like down the line, it's great to see a change in how all of this works. I just think it was a very messy execution to start. That's all. You know, and I understand
for once,
where
it was not messy because it was broken. It was messy because
well, yeah.
Well,
true. It actually went
it
off
worked.
well.
Yeah.
Like...
Well, other than a ton of people getting banned for potentially no reason. I don't think we figured that out. But
that is true. But
other than that,
I mean, the raids are as broken as like any other raids. Like sometimes dodge doesn't fully work, or sometimes it doesn't feel.
How would
like
you know?
that,
You never
like,
dodge.
Oh, I'm an expert at dodging at the max raid battles. I think this is a problem. I want to do like a longer YouTube video on this. I think this is just a problem with Pokemon fans not, and there's nothing wrong with this. I just think it's a problem with Pokemon fans not playing other games and not experiencing like raid culture. Because like it is a lot of work to go to a place and get 40 people together and do something. No one is denying that. But on the other hand, it's super cool to show up to a place and see 200 people doing the same thing as you do. Like that's super cool.
Yeah.
In raid culture though, and World of Warcraft has existed for like what, 15 years, it was a common thing to be like, Tuesday nights are raid nights. I am blocking off all of Tuesday night to do a raid. When I did raids in Destiny, that would be like, I am blocking off 4 hours of my time because that's how long this raid might be.
And those will come. Those will come in Pokemon Go. That we're talking about the future though, right? We're talking about the future versus what it is right now. We have a raid hour every week, and you can get groups of people together to go out. That's for when those I raid hours.
I raid on the raid hour because I know people will show up, and I know what time it is, and Wednesdays seem to work for me. So like,
and that will happen. We will get stronger Pokemon. It will not take 40 people to do these in time, and people will get used to the fact that this is the way it's done, and those things will happen. It's just that that's not happening right now, but in a year from now, I guarantee it will be much more like, oh, we all know how to do it, and we're going out to do this one, and the next one comes out, we all know how to do it, we all know what you need, and people will go out and do it, and it'll be fine. But
yeah,
it's just like week one, was not the best week for them.
Yeah, totally. The thing, just real quick, the thing that Niantic said they did here is for Gengar. They said they added a 25,000 Stardust reward for Gengar.
That's nice.
They said they increased the catch rate, and then they said they adjusted the difficulty slightly compared to other Gigantamax encounters. I'm just reading what they literally told me. We want Gigantamax to be the high bar for a meaningful challenge in Pokemon Go, but we also want to make sure players have a good chance of catching Gengar. We want to make sure that trainers are strategizing and coordinating and going in powered up to a degree. They're literally saying you don't need to be level 50. Your Pokemon don't need to be level 50. We are slightly tuning this raid, specifically Gengar, and they are saying, please update and clarify your post to say that these changes are only for Gengar and we may change future. I don't know how to reword this. They don't like when I copy and paste. They're just saying like other raids might have other bonuses is ultimately what they're saying. So like, Toxtricity might not have 25,000 Stardust. Maybe it has 10,000, which I think would be bad for the record. I actually really like one of the best things they changed from all of this was the 25,000 Stardust.
Yeah, the Stardust and the catch rate increase, both of those are important.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic changes.
When you at the end of the raid, when you can like pay $1 to get double, you end up with 50,000 Stardust?
No, because the Stardust is 1.5. So it's like 37.
Sure. Right.
Whatever. Yeah, because I did a handful. And then they literally a day later, they said, we want to make sure we're setting right expectations. When we say Gengar will be slightly easier, it really is just slightly easier.
See, they learned.
Here's what I think is actually going to happen, and this is separate from what Niantic has said. I do think I don't think they lied. I think they did make Gengar easier, right? But I don't think they need to make future raids easier, I don't think like future raids would be easier because now people have Charizards, Blastoise, Venusaur,
and
Gengars.
An idea of how to actually do the battles.
Yes, and they know how to actually play the battles. Yeah. I also think that there will be harder raids. Like, there's no doubt in my mind a Gmax Melmetal is going to be harder than what we've experienced. There's no doubt in my mind that a Gmax Eternatus will be harder than what we experience. And I think that's fine too. Like at one point, Tyranitar was destroying groups of 12 people, and now you could easily do a Tyranitar maybe by yourself or with one other person, right?
Steve is scarred from Tyranitar raids.
I don't think Toxtricity in Fukuoka will be easier than Gengar or as easy as Gengar, but also Fukuoka has the advantage of those people will be there in Fukuoka doing that, and you would assume that those people willing to travel and pay for a Pokemon event are slightly more hardcore than not.
Are they doing Dynamax and Gigantamax raids together for Toxtricity? Like, can you do a Dynamax Toxtricity and not a Gigantamax one?
Yes. So the Dynamax Toxtricity should be in 4-star raids. We don't know how hard those are. The Gigantamax will be in 6. We don't know what a 5-star raid looks like yet. We don't know what 4-star raid looks like. But they're also doing Toxtricity just in regular raids. And I think that's like I think that's honestly a good system of like, here's your old raid style that you can remote into with your friends and tap, 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 turn your brain off. Don't have to think. You already have counters because you've had counters for 7 years. Here is your 4-star that you could probably do with like 4 people, right? Or 3 people. And then here's your 6-star where you do need 23, 24, 40 people to do. I think that's great.
Yeah.
And before we get to break, I think the one thing that also made people upset, which I completely understand, is powering up starters that will eventually have Gmax forms. So when you look at a Pokemon like Greedent, I don't think anyone's like really upset to be like, I'm going to power up a Greedent, because there is no Gigantamax Greedent.
Right.
So it doesn't feel like you're doing the cycle. I will say, like, at one point we all powered up Vaporeons, and no one's using Vaporeon anymore because we're all using Kyogres now. So it is kind of that same loop. So it's like, again, kind of, yeah, it's kind of that same loop. I do sincerely think that Max Soup will come. And I think we talked about this last week. Yeah. Like, there's not a doubt in my mind that whatever Charizard you powered up before this Gigantamax Charizard, there's not a doubt in my mind that you won't be able to Max Soup it in the next 2 years.
For only $10 per Pokemon. Yeah. It's not just the starters either. I mean, the whole Gigantamax Gengar being out right at the same time all the Dynamax Ghastlies are out, I was able to do a Ghastly. That's one of my strongest Dynamax Pokemon now that I have for my teams.
Well, is it still a Ghastly, or did you evolve?
I evolved it, but I only evolved it and powered it up a little bit because I know that the Gigantamax Gengar is out there. And I was not able to do one of those this weekend,
Well, keep in
but it
mind
would
that,
have been
like,
fun.
to be fair, there is a difference. Like, Gigantamax Charizard can only G-Max Wildfire. That's all it can do. My Dynamax Charizard can max Airstream. So it's better against Phalanx than G-Max Wildfire because one is hitting super effective. So there is like a slight difference. It's not like, I don't know. I talked about this again last week where, like, I don't feel bad powering up these Pokemon because they can learn different moves, which gives them different G-Max moves, right? Like Blastoise can only Hydro Cannon or whatever it's called. Cannonade. G-Max Cannonade, where the other ones can do a different move, right? Like, I think if you teach
darkness.
a Bite, you can do Max Darkness.
Yeah.
But again, you can leave these Pokemon in raid dens, and assuming you live in an area where other people are doing raids, you can get free candy. So it's like, I'll use you again eventually. I don't need you this week, so just sit in this gym and get candy for me. So, wait, Hannah, did you do any Gengars?
No, I did not do any Gengars. I wanted to, just couldn't get people around me.
I am up to 58 Dynamax raids and 33 Gigantamax raids done.
How many Gengar did you do?
12.
Wow.
I did 3 on Friday night, all for free. And then I think I spent like $8 today, and I did 9. Yeah, because I said 12. Yeah, 3 and 9. Yeah, math. Yeah, I did 9. I was going for something that was like decent because I was getting a lot of 2 stars. And then I got a shiny, which wasn't like that great, but I'll probably power it up. And then I was like, well, on my way out, I just kept getting stopped. I was like, well, this one's filling up, so I'll jump in this one. Honestly, it was because of the Stardust is why I was like, I'll do a couple more because the Stardust was just so good.
Yeah. Was this Mall of America?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'm just wondering, like, where you're going, where you're like
Where all
running
the
into
raids
9
are filling
Gengar,
up.
like
Yeah.
Gigantamax
Oh,
Gengar
yeah.
raids.
Yeah, Mall
filling
America had 200 people RSVP'd for today. They had 50 RSVP'd for Friday night. And then there was a park, I think it was downtown Minneapolis. I don't remember what park it was. They had 80 people RSVP'd for this weekend.
Wow.
So
yeah, when
I get it. I understand. You don't have to. I mean, you can YouTube comment. That's fine. I live in a big city. I understand this. I get it. Pokemon Go is unfair. There is also some people who live on like 3 Pokestops and a gym. That is also significantly unfair. I understand. I wish I lived on like 3 Pokestops. I would run my plus nonstop. It would never not be unplugged from the wall. My daily ritual would be throwing away the 500 Pokemon I caught when I was sleeping. Pokemon Go is unfair. I understand. I live in a big city.
The plus doesn't work when it's plugged into the wall.
I'm sure somebody will figure it out. Oh wait, I'm sure somebody opened it up and cut a wire to make it run nonstop. Plugged it into an external battery or something. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about this new TCG set, and then TCG Pocket has released. We'll be right back. And we are back from our break. All right. The Pokemon company, this is off Pokemon.com. They announced a new set, which we knew was coming. We just didn't know the name until now. It's called Prismatic Evolutions, and it will release January 17th, 2025. It will feature over 175 cards, Eevee evolutions as Stellar Terra Pokemon, and special illustration rares. Bobby, what do we tell us about this set?
This set is going to be so good. Just throwing it out there. This is going to be a collector's type set. I mean, we don't know if the cards are going to be incredibly playable. It is a special set, so no booster boxes, no individual sleeved boosters, just special box sets. There is a collection box that comes with 5 packs and then in like an Eevee bag, like that can maybe hold like a deck box and holds. Yeah, it looks like it's made of like the same material as like a plush, but it's like a bag. So
It's like, is it Eevee's face?
it's Eevee's face, yeah,
Oh,
and it's like
okay.
a little like, yeah, it's just a small bag that's like Eevee's face that you can put your Pokemon cards in, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, no, a few different special collection sets or box sets. One thing that is very interesting to me, and I like triple checked this. Like I checked the few different places that mentioned it, and then I went to the like right to the Pokemon press release. Apparently, there are 32 special illustration rares in this set. To put that in perspective, there are 15 special illustration rares in Paldea Evolved and in Paradox Rift. That's the most of any set, is 15 special illustration rares. This set has 32. So
They know what the people want.
I'm assuming we're going to definitely get a special illustration rare of every evolution.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't
At
know,
least
maybe
one.
multiple. Maybe I don't know what else like they're gonna do there with 32 of them. That includes Pokemon and supporter cards for the special illustration rares. But yeah, I think overall this is going to be a great set. This is the Japanese version of this set is called Terrestrial Festival, and it comes out in December. So
Okay.
I believe this set, Prismatic Evolutions, will be that set, as well as there are 9 decks that are coming out in Japan in either November or December. They each feature like one legendary Pokemon along with non-legendary Pokemon. So like, except for Kanto, it's Snorlax and Pikachu. But each of these decks, it's like Kyogre and Blaziken, or I think it was like Tapu Koko and like Mimikyu or something like that. So each of the decks is like a separate one of those. Though some of the cards from those decks will also be featured in Prismatic Evolutions on the international side. So those two things make up that set. And yeah, I'm excited. It comes out like 5 days before my birthday. It's like the perfect birthday, early birthday present for myself that I will buy. So yeah.
This went up on Friday on the Pokemon Center, if I remember.
Mhm.
And I don't know if this is true or not. I saw one TikTok of somebody that said that it sold out within 10 hours.
Yep. That is
which
true because
that
it's I tried to buy the ETB like about 8 hours after it came out, and it was sold out on the Pokemon Center. I was a little
it
bummed.
looks like they only had the ETB though. They didn't have any other boxes.
Yeah, and to be fair, there will be the ETB that is not Pokemon Center exclusive that will be available everywhere else, right? All the big box stores, local card shops. The only difference with the Pokemon Center exclusive one is you get the extra promo card. You get a second promo card that has the Pokemon Center stamp on it. And you
I
also
thought
get the promo
the
code
exclusive ETB had like one more just normal booster.
It has 2 more packs as well. It's got 11 packs instead of 9. So 2 more packs, and then you get the extra promo card. The promo card is an Eevee, and it is incredibly cute. So if you have a chance, go look at the Pokemon Center website. You will see that Eevee. Very cute.
There was a play mat that went up, card sleeves, and a deck box that went up as well. Those all sold out.
Yep.
Because of course they did.
Understandable.
It's almost like they know that the Eevee line is incredibly popular.
So one thing that's interesting about this set is the box sets that they have for it are very similar to the box sets that came out for 151. So when 151 came out, they had like a poster collection, which came with 3 packs of cards and then a poster. This has that as well. It came with a binder collection. So it was like a, 10-page binder, as well as like 5 packs. This has that there. That's here as well. The only difference is that Eevee pouch collection thing that's new. But
that sounds like the coolest thing, honestly.
Yeah, it looks interesting. And then there's booster bundles, which if you're just looking for packs, you're not looking for anything extra. The booster bundles do come with 6 packs. Those usually sell out pretty quick since it's just 6 packs of cards.
Other TCG news is this apparently launched yesterday. The Greninja EX Ultra Premium Collection, which is similar to like that 151 Mew collection they did. Okay. This I didn't even know that this was coming, but it came out yesterday. You get the Fighting Terra type Greninja EX. You get one etched foil card. That's the metal one. You get one foil. You just get one regular card. You get. Oh, sorry. You get the etched foil. You get the regular foil. You get the etched metal card that I just said. You get a playmat, a deck box, a coin featuring Greninja, 6 damage dice. They don't look that great. They're just orange damage dice. They're actually not that cool. 2 plastic condition markers, and then 16 booster packs. And then a code card for TCG Live. I'm sure this will sell well. I mean, the Charizard one did not, though.
Right.
And if Charizard can't
surprising.
sell.
But I think they overprinted. They printed the Charizard one to the moon.
Yeah. Well, that was because the one before the Charizard one was the 25th anniversary Pikachu one. And that went so quick. And then I think they were like, well, we should print more Charizard ones because these Pikachu ones sold out so quick. And then everybody was like, no, I'm good.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of like resellers that sat on the Charizard ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then they kind of got, I mean, they kind of deserved it, but they got kind of screwed over because, you could walk into a Target and see a Charizard one at like $80. So didn't they retail for like what, 100?
120.
120, but they were literally on sale at Target or Walmart for like $80 after a month or two.
You still see them from time to time, the Charizard ones. Still from time to time you'll see them in a store.
I think I have one unopened somewhere.
Yeah, because the Sword and Shield packs themselves are starting to rise in price just because it's becoming a little bit older. But yeah, I mean, I would say like this summer you were still seeing Charizard UPCs sitting in stores, so not nearly as popular. I think there's also the Greninja one just came out, and there's a Terapagos one that either came out already or is coming out.
I feel like that one is coming out.
Okay, I do remember that. I thought that was going to be around the Stellar Crown time frame, but maybe not.
Yeah, I don't have
sure why they're doing so many of them. Like, I don't know why
there's no way they're not doing these because they're just super good holiday gifts, right?
I guess maybe.
Like a kid ripping open like that Charizard box on Christmas, and then the dad crying because they bought it from a reseller for $200, and then crying again after Christmas when they see it in Target for $80. The emotional roller coaster that is buying Pokemon cards.
Such is life.
Yeah, those are the new sets. And did Surging Sparks comes out next week?
Comes out on Friday. Yeah.
Yes.
This coming Friday as we record.
I think the embargo on that is lifted. Not that. I always think embargo on English cards is funny because they're just
Japanese ones are
Japanese cards.
Yeah.
Like I understand it. I totally get it. That's still funny. I opened up some Surging Sparks, and then that's on YouTube right now if you want to see me open. I guess I can give some behind the scenes. I kind of say this in the video. We did the Stellar Maze thing, and then they shut down the Stellar Maze. They kicked everyone out. And then there was like 6 of us where they were like, here's 20 packs of Surging Sparks. You can open it and make a video. And like, that's not my normal content. I just don't like rip open packs and throw it up on YouTube. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's just not what I do. It doesn't ever do well on my YouTube. This is me telling you to please watch that video. But I was like slightly unprepared, and like some content creators went off and they like did their own thing where they did like a group thing, and I was like, I don't like doing group stuff anyways. As they pair us all up with a Pokemon employee, So the Pokemon employee, there's one Pokemon employee per content creator. And the job of the Pokemon employee was to just make sure that they got all the cards back, because the rule was you couldn't keep the cards. And I opened 20 packs and I got 10 hits out of 20 packs, which is
wild.
Crazy good. And
And
there
then
were
you
cards I
couldn't keep them.
I know, there were cards that I like genuinely liked. I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted this card. And then it's just, here you go. I don't know where they're gonna end up. Not in my hands.
Do you know when they handed you the packs, did they just hand you a stack of 20 packs, or did they pull it from like a booster box or something?
I didn't see a booster box. I saw them open just like a backpack and just pull out all these packs from this backpack. It seemed real shady, honestly.
They should sell that. They should sell like backpacks full of packs. That would be great. Like
that would be good. It's like that mystery box.
Yeah.
Except it's a backpack and you don't know what's inside. Speaking of that mystery box, before we take one more break and switch over to TCG Pocket, I saw 2 people get the same exact mystery box. One person I saw just on a TikTok. I was like, oh, somebody got it on TikTok. I watched them open it. I was like, okay, cool. Like exactly what you expect. It was like 2 plushes, a hat, the figure.
Was it the image? Were they from the image?
One was a Tasaguri and then one was like a Charizard plush. So both of those were in the image, yes.
I'm saying.
And then somebody tweeted at me. I'm super sorry, I can't remember. They tweeted at me and they were like, I got the box. Here's what was inside. And it was identical to the one on TikTok.
Oh,
no.
Like,
that's crazy.
Oh, and it would make sense if it was identical, if there was a very limited number of things that were in them, like the images showed.
Yeah, that's
no. Okay.
wild.
Okay. So somebody opened it and they had like, they got like a small live in their box. I don't think, also the Terrapagos box is out.
Good.
I don't think there was ever a small live in the special, like I can't even find it.
I'm looking right now.
Was there was no small live in the art?
There was a small live somewhere.
Was there Tasaguri? Because I saw a lot of people getting Tasaguris.
There was a Tatsugiri plush because that's how we knew it wasn't a sitting cutie.
Yes. Yeah, they got a sitting cutie. I couldn't remember what it was, but then they also got a small live, and then their 3-pin set was small live, Da live, and then Arboliva. And I was like, man, I hope you really like that line of Pokemon, because
oh, they got a small live plush?
Yes.
Okay.
That is in the image.
It is in the image.
It is.
Yes.
We need somebody who
small
bought
line
one of these
pins
boxes.
are also in the image.
If you bought one of these boxes, please comment on the YouTube video what you got. We need to know if somebody got Kakuna. I need to know if you're out there.
No, I think is what I
think maybe Bobby was right.
I saw one person get a Meowth, the statue of the Meowth, and then I saw one person get the Fampi of the Meowth, Fampi statue.
Those are both in the image.
Those are both in the image.
Yep.
We need to take a break.
I'm just reading descriptions. That's all.
How dare they do honest marketing on this podcast? If you got something that is not in the image, we need to know. There's no way they didn't have extra Kakuna plushes that they weren't putting in those boxes. There's no way. Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about TCG Pocket. So we'll be right back. And we are back from our break. TCG Pocket is here. Came out on October 30th for most, well, I don't know, depending on where you live, it came out at some time. It's here. It's an app. I played it early. I played it while I was in New York. I shared all my thoughts. I think we did a podcast, and then I think I did like 2 videos on it or something like that. But let's start with Hannah. What did I overhype it?
Maybe a little bit, but it really depends on who's playing. I am clearly not the TCG person on this podcast. Buying Pokemon cards, like I get Pokemon cards for Christmas, and that makes me happy. But other than that, buying Pokemon cards is not something that's been in my budget for very much of the time, even as an adult. For me,
There's a Greninja EX box in your future. Under the tree.
Just because they've got to sell out of them. But I'm enjoying opening 2 packs a day. I'm not going to pay for this. Unless they come out with something I really, really, really want. I am definitely not planning on paying for this. I've done 2 battles, one with auto on and one with auto off, and I think they're fine. It's a little snappy. There are a couple of the animations that are a little off-putting, just a little too fast. But other than that, I like opening the cards, and I got really lucky with one of my packs this week.
Yeah, you got a God pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Which is, I think, like a 1 in 2,000 chance or something. It's pretty.
And it was all different Pokemon, and they were all full art. It was a very, very good pack.
It was an amazing God pack on top of it just being a God pack.
Yes.
Bobby, you want to explain what a God pack is? They exist in real life. They're not exclusive.
They exist in Japanese, in like special sets in Japanese where, let's say, for instance, you have a set that has shiny Pokemon, a God pack. It's like every card in the pack is a hit, quote unquote hit. So like is like the shiny Pokemon or like an EX card or something along those lines. So rather than get like the common, uncommon cards, you're just getting the double rare or higher for every single card in the pack. And so that is a God pack. And Hannah, you got like the best God pack I've seen so far.
I had a Cubone. I don't know how to describe any of them. I can say full art or not, but I don't know.
Full art Cubone.
Yeah. Cubone, a Mewtwo EX, a Dragonite, and 2 different Articuno EX.
I thought you got the gold Pikachu. Am I misremembering?
No, I got the gold Mewtwo.
Oh, the gold Mewtwo.
The
gold.
Yeah,
That's the rare one.
That's like the hyper rare right there. Yeah, I guess you have the full art, and then you have like almost like the illustration rare. So like you got like I think you got like the full art Articuno, and then you got like the illustration rare Articuno.
The 2 different.
Yeah. So I guess it's like special illustration rare Cubone technically.
Yeah,
because it's like an illustration of Cubone.
Illustration. Yeah, I think that's. I don't know how they're explaining it for like officially, but I would imagine like if it's a regular Pokemon like Cubone, that's like an illustration rare, and then if it's an EX like Articuno EX, that'd be like a special illustration rare. That's how it goes in.
Back in my day, we had common, uncommon, rare. That was it. Bobby, did I overhype this app?
No, you did not. You did not. This app is amazing. So I will say that Pokemon Go, while I love Pokemon Go, I think it has dropped to maybe my 3rd favorite Pokemon mobile game, because sleep is second, but I think Pocket has like it quickly jumped up for me. I love opening packs is great, just as someone who loves opening packs. I have spent money on the game, not a lot, but I have spent money. Opening packs is great, and then the battling is exactly what I have always wanted the TCG online to be like. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the TCG. It's just that when I'm wanting to play the TCG, I don't want to play like a 30 or 40. I don't want to sit down and like not know if it's going to take 30 or 40 minutes to play a match. And the way that the battling works in Pocket is wonderful for me. Like it's just quick matches, but it still gives you that same feeling of playing the TCG. Similar strategies, like obviously the game is different, smaller decks, things like that, but it's just, I think the battling is really fun, and it's just cool to be able to do that. So it's like, yeah, you can open packs and you're collecting your stuff, which is wonderful. And then on the times when you can't open your packs, you can still just pop in and, you can do a couple battles, you can build a new deck, try new decks out, things like that. It's, I just think it's really fun. I'm loving it so far.
Yeah, I have to give a disclosure here. The Pokemon Company sent me $100 iTunes gift card
Nice.
I guess I could have spent it on anything. Honest. Now that I'm thinking about it, I could have put it into Pokemon Sleep. I think they said we hope you enjoy Pokemon Pocket. But now that I'm thinking of it, I could have put 50 in a Sleep, 50 in a Pocket. That's okay. It's fine. Yeah, there's no place to enter codes. This is what I said, 2 months ago. There's just no code spot like Unite or like TCG Live or Pokemon Go, even though Pokemon Go uses like a website to enter code cards. Yeah, there's not. It's just like, well, I mean, it's a DNA game, so just like Pokemon Masters, just no place to redeem anything. It is exactly what I played. The little trading button is grayed out. The sets are the same. Wonder Pick is more interesting than I thought it was going to be. It was like really hard to like Wonder Pick while I played it because you just Wonder Picked once and then that was kind of it. And we only had the app for like 2-3 hours, so it's not like we saw it refreshing. Also, Wonder Pick is based off of other people Wonder Picking, so when you have so there wasn't like a lot of options. Otherwise, I played like a Lapras event. That's actually what I did. I did a lot of battles at the New York thing because I like Bobby. The battle system is exactly what I want in a mobile battle system. And that Lapras event is not there. Although I think I saw on Twitter that like it was coming soon, or it was like announced on like a Japanese thing that the Lapras event was coming.
I saw that too.
So it's everything I want. Like it's great. Like I'm still very high on it. I'm still very positive about it. I still think it's such a cool thing, and I'm sure it's made a ton of money so far. I think it's just like the nature of I want to open a couple more packs. Let me just put like $10 into the game. Because like ultimately like $10 gets you 10 packs. It's like realistically it's like $12 because it's 6 gold per pack. Yeah. You need 120 gold to open it, so it's $12. I think complaint wise, I don't want to be like, okay, here's all the complaints. I knew that this was going to be a complaint. It's people being like, well, I opened my 2 packs, I did my Wonder Trade, I've done the test, I've done the like CPU battles. There's nothing else to do. And that's 100% valid, but that is the TCG. I mean, that is the TCG, right? Like you can go to Target, you can buy a bunch of packs, you can rip them open, and you're done. Like that's what it's been for 29 years. Like you can put those together and play against somebody. You can totally do that, and you can do that in this game. You can just jump online and play against somebody. There is no ladder, which I think will add longevity to the game. But I think it was smart for them not to release a ladder. I think it was ethical for them not to release a ladder. I think if the game launched with a ladder, it would pressure people into spending money to then try to get a competitive deck to then go on ladder. Since there is no risk or there is no like penalty for going online and losing to somebody. There's just not. So it the whole thing feels so low risk of like it legitimately at this point in the stages feels like I'm just playing somebody at a league, or I'm just playing my significant other on the couch, and we had fun, and that's okay. But I think for long term there does need to be a ranked, but I think it was smart for them to be like, well, if we do a ranked at launch, people are going to feel even if you're okay with spending money, you're going to turn off the people that don't want to spend money because they're literally going to say, this is pay to win. I can't afford to open 20 booster packs. I don't have a Mewtwo EX. I don't have a Gardevoir. I don't have a Pidgeot. Like, I don't want to do this anymore.
You know what's pay to win? The TCG.
I mean, to be very frank,
it
is always
being able to open being able to open 2 free packs a day is a big step up from that.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
I wish I could go to Target and just pull 2 packs off the rack and be like, these are my 2 free Pokemon packs today.
I'm sure there's somebody out there getting 2 free packs a day at Target.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, I there is a big money aspect behind competitive TCG in person, for sure, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember doing the last chance qualifier back in was it 2010 or 2011, where it was like the best deck right now is 4 Mewtwo's and 4 Mewtwo EXs, 4 Darkrai EXs. Mewtwo EX is $80, Darkrai EX is $65. I have 2 of each, but the best deck is 4 of each.
Mm-hmm.
Do I spend the money for these cards, or do I just go in with what I'm currently using?
Right.
When Sun and Moon came out, the best card at the time was Tapu Lele. It was an $80 card, and almost every single deck out there required 2 to 3 Tapu Lele.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think they need to introduce trading, which does have a little button that says coming soon. I do think they need to do that before a ranked ladder. I think that does alleviate a lot of that, where it's like, Bobby, I got 3 Mewtwo's. You can just have one. Like, if you're missing it, I don't care. Here, just take it. You can trade me whatever. Although we don't know how trading works.
Because there's nothing you can do with your duplicates at this point, right? You just have them.
I mean, you get rewards for some of them.
True, but
you can crush them.
What's that?
And turn them into dust. It is like Hearthstone and whatnot. You can crush your duplicates, because I saw people would buy a bunch of like Pokeballs with the tickets and then crush the Pokeballs to then make their Pokeball sparkle. I think it's called like Flare.
Yeah.
You
can add Flare. So, okay. Unrelated question, but I have not played Marvel Snap. How much like that game is this?
It's less like it than I thought it was going to be. Like I played Marvel Snap. I played it for a good week or two, not as long as I expected. For just kind of in preparation for this game so that I could compare. I mean, Marvel Snap is not the same sort of trading card game in battles that Pokemon is. These are very clearly Pokemon TCG battles, matches. That is kind of, I mean, they're not the same as outside of the app, but it's very clearly a Pokemon TCG game. Marvel Snap is a totally different, kind of almost reminds me more of a tabletop game.
Okay.
Where there's just, I don't want to say less going on.
You heard it here first. Marvel Snap is boring.
No. It's just, it plays very, very differently. And it is almost entirely focused on the matches. Whereas this app is a lot more focused on the collection, which I like a lot.
Yeah, they did say that this was a card collecting app first.
I still think if you go to the Pokemon TCG Pocket website, there isn't a mention of battling on the website.
Yeah, I think the battling is super good.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely in the very early stages of. There's only 263 cards or something like that. So of course with any card game, competitive game, whatever, there's always going to be a meta. There's always going to be cards that are better than other cards. So there's already like some decks that are better than others. That's just how these things work. Right. But I think as they add more cards, that like will rotate some cards in, some cards out. So I think that's cool. Anytime somebody has ever been like, Steve, I want to learn how to play the trading card game, I would always say like, go play PTCGO or go play PTCG Live, because I sincerely think that the way those games teach you is really good. Interface wise, Live is very ugly. Yeah. Holy cow. Just not a aesthetically looking good game. It's very ugly. But at least they have figured out like the proper way to teach people. And I think Pocket also is really good at teaching you how to play.
Yeah.
And I do like how the missions are set up to be like, hey, maybe you should build a grass deck here. Okay, maybe you should build an electric deck. Okay, maybe you should build a metal deck. Maybe you should build a darkness deck. So, and the auto build, I think is pretty good, honestly.
Yeah.
Again, it helps that there's not that many cards in the game.
Right.
But I think the auto battle is really good. I think the auto build is really good. I think that it is a really good way to get people interested. So when they do introduce a ladder, I'm really banking on them introducing a ladder. Like, I sincerely think they do. They've never confirmed this, for the record. Like, when we asked them in person, they were like, we know that people would be interested in a ranked mode.
It would add a lot more to the game, for sure.
Yeah, but
it would also change the entire focus of the app.
right, because to my point from a few minutes ago, the website doesn't even mention the battling. Are they going to add ranked? They're going to have to mention battling on the website if they're going to do something like that, right? Like, their focus is very heavy on, hey, you're here to collect cards. You're here to, I mean, just the fact that you can do the little, you can put a card in a display, or you can set up a binder, which is awesome, by the way. You can search by artist. So you can have, like, you can set up a binder and then just have like your favorite artist's cards in the binder and everything like that. Like, this app is so good. It's great. I love it.
There's an event going on right now, their first event, which is the Wonder Pick event. Part 1 is the official, a really bad title to the event, but it's literally called Wonder Pick Event Part 1. It features Chansey and Meowth, and every hour, from my understanding of how it works, there's a chance that you either get like a Chansey pick or a Meowth pick or just a free pick. So it encourages you to open the app frequently. I believe it goes until November 22nd. And then ideally there's 2 promo cards. There's the Chansey promo card and the Meowth promo card. If you're a collector, you probably want 2 of each because you're allowed 2 of each in your deck. And then there's 3 cosmetics you can buy with the event tickets. Another slight problem with the game, there's like 7 million currencies. It's really hard to keep track of like what is doing what.
Yeah.
But you can, they're 3 each, so you just need 9 tickets altogether to get it, but it's like 2 Meowths and then like a plant, like a flower pink planter thing that you can get. So that's cool. Like, it is smart that they did an event right away, because it does get you to check the app.
Right.
Did you, Hannah, doesn't sound like you're doing the premium pass.
No.
Bobby,
Almost
I'm
definitely
sure,
not.
instantly signed up.
Instant. That was the first thing that I did before I did anything else. I was, let me get the premium pass and start that, so that I got everything. There is, speaking of promo cards, I don't know if you have to be premium, but there's a Pikachu promo as well. And I believe it costs like 1 premium ticket. So I think you have to own the premium pass, but you can go into the shop or whatever, and there's like a full art illustration Pikachu in there too.
Yeah. If you're on the fence of spending money in this game, what I would recommend is, if you're going to give this game up to $10 a month, or if you're just thinking about giving it $10, I think the premium pass is where you spend your money. $10, like I said earlier, gets you about 9 booster packs. Again, realistically, you have to spend $12 to get 10 booster packs. Whereas if you got the premium pass, you would get 1 extra booster pack a day for 30 days. So do you want to spend $10 to get 30 booster packs, or do you want to spend $12 to get 10?
Right.
So it is worth it if you are thinking of spending any money. Obviously, if you're free to play, stay free to play. That's totally, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just trying to tell you where your money is best going.
You also, so I will convince you. Premium pass,
Will you?
get the first 2 weeks for free. It's a 2-week trial. So you can use the premium pass just to try it out, and then you can cancel it and not pay anything.
Interesting.
But it is a 2-week trial.
I don't think I didn't actually realize that because I didn't even go and look at the premium pass because I wasn't intending to spend money.
Yeah,
so that's
so
very
it
good
is
to know.
It
2-week
is,
trial.
and so I don't know about Android, but like for iOS, when you go to sign up, it will show you, here's the date you signed up. You won't be charged your $9.99 until 14 days from now, and then I'm sure
I'm
you can go
curious
into
if
the.
it's one of the ones you can cancel right away. Some of them
Yeah,
you can,
I
some
think
of
it
them you
can.
right now,
can't.
I think you can cancel it right away.
I think you can. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
I will say, once trading is added to this game, I may actually become someone who's willing to maybe buy the premium or at least put some money into this game because I like being able to do things for people and make people happy with cards they like. And so being able to have more cards that I could trade to friends, I think is something that I would potentially be interested in. But as the game is now, not for me. I'll stay free to play for now.
Not for you.
And just to confirm, yeah, you can go in, at least on iOS, you can go into the App Store, into your subscriptions. You can cancel the free trial. And it does say that you'll still have access to the subscription until the end of your 14 days.
Wonderful.
But you can cancel it right in the App Store there. So
yeah,
go try it out.
There's like a lot of neat things about it, like completing certain sets or like how they put different sets together.
Yeah.
What I mean by sets is like little, like just collections of like subsets. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I noticed today it was like you completed the Safari Zone subset. And I was like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And I went and looked, and then it showed me like 11 cards that they had made up this little subset that was the Safari Zone subset. And I was like, that's a really nice touch. Like, that's cool to then see them all together and see that that's like some little. I love collecting things. So, it's like it works really well for how I like to.
There are some like secret things you can do. Like if you got like 3 of the yarn electrodes, you can unlock the electrode profile pick.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like a bunch of like little stuff. I don't know how that would affect when there's so many questions when trading comes of like, if I only had 2 electrodes and Hannah trades me a third electrode, does that unlock it, or do I have to pull it?
Okay, so one thing that's interesting, someone brought this up today in the Slack. It just may go along with this, is that they're pretty exact about how they want you to complete missions. So I think somebody was saying that in one of like the master rank battles, you have to beat it with like the 3 diamond Dragonite, or like 2 of like something, like it was like you had to beat it with the 3 diamond or 2 of the 3 diamond ones or something, and they had a 3 diamond Dragonite and they had like a 2 diamond Dragonite, which functionally they're the same card. Like the move is the same, the HP is the same, all the stuff is the same. But because one of them wasn't the 3 diamond Dragonite, they didn't complete the mission, right? So I think that they'll be very precise on their wording of how you complete a mission. It might be like, open 3 of these versus like obtain 3, right? So it's like, way I'd have to open 3 rather than like get one in a trade. I could see them having just the precise wording on those missions.
When I did the special Lapras mission that is not in the game right now, one of them was defeat the Lapras deck. So like right now, I completed all the like the beginner, and then I think I completed all the novice, which is like all of those missions plus all the mini tasks, which I think is really like neat. It gives like a replayability of like, I was stuck on one where I kept beating it in 15 turns, and it was like beat it in 14 turns, and it was like I'm 1 turn away every time. Like I'm still winning. It's just like I need to win 1 turn sooner. So like super neat. Like love it. But when I was doing the Lapras ones and it was getting harder and harder and harder, one of them was like beat this Lapras deck without using any EX Pokemon, and it was like beat this deck without Lapras knocking you out at all. And then I saw one of them, which I don't remember if it was Lapras or something else, where it was like win without taking any damage.
What? Wow.
So like I think those missions are really cool, and I think that they will help people get better at the TCG, or at least like think of it differently. Like yeah, I can win this match over and over and over again, but it's asking me to win this match faster. And now I have to adjust how I approach this. Like, oh, I'm winning consistently. I'm just not doing enough damage. So I have to like take these Pokemon out that are a little slower and try to risk it with a little bit harder hitters that take a little bit longer to set up. I think that stuff is really neat. And you can think of it more as like a puzzle game than like a TCG match almost of like, how can I solve this puzzle? And the auto battle, I don't know how good it is. I don't know how good it will be later on, but it's like really good for all that intro stuff. And it's really good if it's just like, if your daily task is like play one match, you're just like, okay, I'll just auto battle and not worry about it.
Yeah, I really like that. Honestly, it may make me build more decks because sometimes I just want to build a deck but not have to go through the experience of using it myself. And so the auto battle may actually help with that.
That's like, that reminds me of like Pokemon Quest. You build out your little three Pokemon team. Quest is so good. And then you could like have it just auto battle. So I'd build out my team, because that was the part I liked the most about Quest, is like building out that team and getting the right attacks and everything, and then just auto battle, set my phone up there, auto battle, go do my thing, and then come back and do the next quest, So
yeah. Other thing about premium is, so premium, you get 3 booster packs a day. So how the current booster packs work, this even works with premium. So this is for people who don't have premium, maybe don't understand how it works. You'll see a timer up there and it will say, you have 11 hours till your booster pack. And once that 11 hours is there, you get that booster pack. And then the second timer starts ticking of like 12 hours for the next one. So you can hold as a free player 2 booster packs. And then once you get that second booster pack, no more timers exist. You have to open one of them to start the next timer. And then obviously the next one is 12 hours later. How the paid works is you get a separate track. And that one is every 24 hours. And so that doesn't affect your 2 free ones. It's on a whole different timer. You can hold 2 of those packs. So if you don't play the game for like 48 hours, you will have 4 booster packs. You will have your 2 free ones, and then your paid one can hold an extra one in reserve. Do I recommend that? Sometimes life gets busy, but like, don't feel like every night at 10 p.m. I need to open my premium one, because otherwise it won't start the track. It will start a track. So you don't have to it doesn't feel like a full-time job because you paid for premium of like, oh my gosh, I need to open this app exactly 10 o'clock every night, take my medication, brush my teeth, turn on my Pokeball Plus.
Yeah, it's not like Pokemon Sleep asking you to open it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Although I will say, Pokemon TCG Pocket has a very good notification sound that is very clearly Pokemon. That I had never heard it before, and I heard it go off one time, and my brain went, yep, that's Pokemon. I know what that is, just based off the sound.
Yeah. Speaking of sounds, the music in TCG Pocket it's good as well. It's not Pokemon Sleep levels good, but it is it's enjoyable. I do like I hadn't listened with the sound on at first, and then I think I had my headphones on or something, and I opened the app and the music came on, and I was like, oh, this is kind of nice. This is nice music and nice sound effects.
Yeah, it's good. It's great. I don't know if it's like fully worth putting a bunch of money in. Like as somebody who was given $100, which I disclosed, I bought the Erica set,
Nice.
which was with coins, so that gave me the play mat and then the sleeves and then the rainbow coin. And then if I do want to, I think it's the Gardevoir set where you can't buy it with gold, but you buy it with money, but you get gold.
Yes.
And then
it's
there's
like $22 or $23 USD.
But you get like $25 worth of gold plus
Yeah, you
the
get a
Gardevoir
bunch.
stuff.
Yeah, you get a bunch of gold. You get gold, and then and then you get the Gardevoir
Um,
set.
and then there's like the 3 special offers of like 99 cents, $4.99, and then I think $9.99, which gives you bonus stuff. I don't think those have end dates. I don't know if those are just forever until you eventually buy them.
Yeah, I don't know if there's an
But
end date. They
ideally
do
you
go away
would,
when you buy them.
ideally you buy those first.
Yes.
So yeah, I've opened more than 100 packs, I think, because I think the game tells you you've opened 100 packs. But you get so many free packs like the first like day you play it, because it's just like checking off missions and stuff.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me, like somebody who would get this game, live in this game for like 2 to 3 hours, have such a good time, and then all of a sudden go, well, there's nothing to do.
Yep.
Well, and it's because you're not opening packs consistently anymore. Maybe you've done all the AI battles and you're not like interested in those anymore. Like, I totally get it. But like, what the other content they can add is like the Wonder Pick stuff, which isn't a lot to do. It does get you to open the app more frequently.
Mhm.
But even that's like gated with time. And then they can add like that Lapras event and another event after that. But that stuff goes back to battling. So
I don't know how that is different than any other game though. I mean, like
no,
in
I don't think.
Pokemon Sleep, yeah, I like feed Snorlax. I go in and overthink what teams or what I need to, power up or do whatever with, and then there's nothing else to do for now. I
Yeah.
close the app and I go on to my day. you know.
That's I think why I like it.
Right. That's the that's the thing. It's like I'm not sitting in it for I don't want to sit in it for 6 hours.
Yeah.
I want to, that's what Pokemon Go is for. I'll go out and take a giant walk. But like I like the fact that I can go complete tasks, do a couple battles if I want to do a couple battles. I could, spend money and open more packs if I want to or not. And then I can close the app and, move on with the day.
Yeah. I think I had this with Unite. I have this with a lot of games. Whether this is like Apex Legends or Pokemon Unite or whatever, where like I want everything. Ironically, I really like Pokemon games where it's like I want to catch everything, right? I have a very collector's mindset. I think people who listen to the show probably can relate. They play Pokemon and they probably have a collector's mindset as well. With Pokemon Unite, it was pretty quickly broken. Also with Apex Legend, it was pretty quickly broken because it was like, I don't care about these characters. These skins are too expensive. This applies to both of these games, Pokemon Unite and Apex Legends, where it's like, I'm never going to play this character. I don't want to pay $20 for a skin. I think in Pokemon Unite, some of the skins are like $40.
Yeah.
I'm never going to play Ninetales. I'm not going to pay $40 for a skin. And at a certain point, it just breaks that for me, where it's like, I'm never going to get everything in the game. Now, I've met people who play Apex Legends or play Pokemon Unite that own every single character, every single skin, every single like special seasonal event. That's awesome. I don't have that kind of money. Even if I did have that kind of money, I don't know if I would give it to Unite or give it to Respawn over at for Apex Legends. And I had that feeling today with Pocket. So obviously Pokemon gave me $100. I was like, dang, that's cool. I can guilt-free spend it. But even when I was like looking at the Erica stuff, I was like, I don't care about a binder cover. I don't care about like the little placeholder card. And when am I ever going to use the green coin? When I bought the rainbow coin, which looks significant. Like I'm never going to equip this green coin ever. And I think what also helped trigger that was I think the Erica playmat is gorgeous. I think it's such a cool playmat. I love her card sleeves. When I switched to the Eevee playmat, I was like, I don't like this. I think it's too busy.
It's super busy.
And it's kind of hard to look at. And it really broke it for me to be like, you know what? Because I think the Erica binder cover, green coin, and whatever. I think if you do the gold math, it's like $10. It's like $9 or 50 cents or $10. I was like, that's just $10 I don't need to spend. And I think, and even with the Gardevoir thing, I'm thinking, I don't love Gardevoir. I think he's a good Pokemon. I'm saying he because Gardevoir is a 50% male, 50% female. I think Gardevoir. I think he's fantastic. But I don't think I would use that playmat more than like the Erica playmat right now. And I think that's like a good problem to have because I can easily see somebody just like in Unite or somebody in Apex Legends that has that mindset of like, I need everything. I need both Erica sets. I need the Gardevoir. I need the Mewtwo. I need the Meowth set whenever that comes out. I need the Lapras set whenever that comes out. And I just don't feel like I need to give that money that way. I think it's cool. I think it's very cool to have options where you can be like, I love Ninetales. I'm definitely going to buy the $40 Ninetales skin. I don't like Cramorant. I have no desire to spend the $40 Cramorant skin. I think that's great to have options. But I'm glad that at least for me, it feels like I've already broke that want to have everything in this game.
Yeah.
Cosmetically.
Broke it right nice and early. So.
Yeah. Because right now, like I think it's easy to commit to that very early on of like, oh, there's only like 3 things to buy. It's only the Gardevoir, the Erica, and the Erica. And so like I own it all. Like you can like slowly work up to like the Mewtwo playmat or whatever in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously I know as the game goes on, it's gonna be like it's just gonna add up.
Yep.
So like why am I gonna spend $10 on like the game's been out for a couple days and it's like I really don't care about the display thing and I really don't care about binder covers right now. Maybe I will. I don't think so. But I really like the playmats.
You might.
I think playmats and coins are up there for me, but
yeah. I think that there just isn't enough, and this is okay. Like there's not a lot of variety yet. So it's like, yeah, you're not like into the binder covers. There could be a time when it's like Cramorant month and you're like, oh, you know what? I would like to have like theme of like, you go to my profile, you look at my stuff, it's all Cramorant themed, right? And like that may be something that gets you to buy a Cramorant binder cover or a Cramorant display at that point in time. But you know, I think that's okay. And I think that I like all the options that they have. And it just, I don't know, when I look at it and we're just different in how we think, like, I definitely don't look at it like, oh, I need to get that, and the other. It's more like, oh, well, do I like that? Yeah, I like that. I'm going to be looking at that. So I want to make sure that like, I like it. I'm not going to go buy every playmat because I'm not going to use every playmat, just realistically, you know?
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I think that if you are a person who likes to collect everything, that's great. It's there for you. And then if you're just want to like choose what you like, then it's perfect because there are so many different options.
And if you just want to do the collecting, but while on free to play, you have plenty of cards to collect without having to worry about the accessories.
Yeah.
So I do hope to see more of the accessories and things like that because if there's one I like, I think it would be neat. I think they're cool.
Once there's a Rika accessory, Hannah's all in. $22 down the drain for that rainbow Rika coin.
Very possibly. Yep.
Did they ever say, I can't remember if they answered how often new sets would come out?
Yeah, we asked them that question and they said genuinely we don't have a roadmap for that. They said we are working on new sets, but we don't want to release them too soon or too late. So they were like, we're just waiting until the game comes out and we're seeing how fast people get through sets.
Okay.
Which I think is a good answer.
Yeah, I think it is too. It's interesting because unlike a company where, so like, because all the cards are actually drawn by TCG artists, right? Like you'll see artists that are like, that draw a card, the real card, like the physical cards as well. And so I just wonder like if they're like not sure how they're gonna do that. Like I wonder if they have a few sets already like set up that they'll drop at some point, just because I would imagine all those artists are doing the work to draw those cards, and so they must be there somewhere.
Yeah. Also, they're pulling from old cards too, right?
They definitely
Some
are.
stuff,
Yeah.
some stuff
Yeah,
is old.
like
Yeah,
that
there's
Slowpoke.
definitely, but there are a lot of cards that I look at them and it's like, oh, why can't you be a physical card?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the artwork is beautiful.
The other thing, I think the last thing I'll say, I don't know if you guys have anything else, is I know that some people play with no sound on. I totally understand. I get. If you pull an immersive card, turn your sound on. There's 4 immersive cards in the game: Charizard, Mewtwo, Pikachu, and there's a secret one. I don't want to spoil it for people. Each one of those immersive cards, not only are they like really cool, the ones you like dive into and like the card expands, they all have their own music track to it. And it blows Pokemon sleep away. The music is so good per card. It's just a really nice touch on top of, like, obviously they're working with all these artists to make these cards, but they must be working with specific composers to like make a melody. I'm not a music person. I don't know, a melody, a tune, a song to the card itself.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah, they're great. They're great. You can also just replay it, like if you miss it, or like you already opened a Mewtwo and you're like, oh, I didn't know there was sound to it. You can just go back to the card and tap and hold, and it will like bring you into it again and just turn your sound up. They're all super cool.
yeah, that's definitely that's pretty awesome. There's also in the settings of the app, you can have it be 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. So
Is it
you
default
might
30?
I think that I don't remember changing it, and when I went and looked today, it was 60 on my app. So, but then there's also 3 settings that are: one is high performance, one is balanced, and then one is high quality. And I was going through, I didn't see a huge difference. Like I did high performance versus high quality, and like just looking at like a card, I didn't see any difference. But I haven't had a chance to do like a match and stuff and see what the difference is when they're set between the 3 different settings. But those are in there, so you can kind of go into your settings and mess with a couple of things there as well.
Anything else?
It's a great app. I don't know. It's wonderful. I love it. It's everything that I was hoping it would be. Like, and when you explained it a couple months ago to us, it was, I was surprised. Right at the time, we were like, "Whoa, Steve really likes this app. This sounds really good." And then New Zealand
I like
getting
that people that listen to the show for a long time know that I'm historically negative. So that's why I thought it was so funny last week when I was positive on the Go stuff. People were like,
That's same, because I'm like, do the people who say that you're a shill last week not ever listen to any other episode of this show? Because
where I'm like so critical. Like Niantic literally sent me to Jakarta, and I was like, yeah, the Pokemon Go stuff kind of sucked, but everything else was good.
Yeah, but you really liked this game when you played it, and we were all surprised, and I think the community at large was surprised, and then when it came out in New Zealand for like the early release, like we were saying when we said that before, it's like usually they do that kind of thing because they're worried like it's not going to be good, or we've seen like in the past where like they've released something early and it's not good, and there was no comments about that, right? In that month, seemed like people were just having a good time with it, and so that tracks. I don't know, like it's
yeah, I still
great.
don't really understand why they did the early release, but we can all play it now. So
yeah, it's not like they did any like card balances or anything.
Yeah.
No, and
like,
the people who were able to do the early release and spent money luckily didn't get anything reset, so they didn't like lose the cards that they had pulled or lose the money that they had spent or anything like that, which was obviously the right move since people spent money.
Yeah, I think as like a game that you can spend money in, I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think like 10 packs for $12. It's cheaper than I think I said this when I initially played it because I laid out the pricing. It's definitely cheaper than like Masters or I feel like a lot of gacha games in general, like Honkai Star Rail, Genshin Impact, Walking, Waving, Weathering Waves, whatever that other one is. I almost said Walking Wake.
Yeah.
That's my Walking Wake is my favorite gacha game. Love them. I think this game is cheaper to like just pull on in general. It's definitely cheaper than Pokemon Masters. Pokemon Masters, a single pull is 300 gems. And 10 pulls is 3,000 gems. So, but the only actual complaint I've seen is I ran out of things to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like not the worst complaint.
Not every
it is a
game
valid
has
complaint.
to be all encompassing.
Yeah,
It is a valid complaint, and I'm really looking forward to trading being a thing. And I hope ladders become a thing in the game, or at least some sort of competition around the game. It doesn't have to be an in-game ladder. I feel like plenty of competitions could be built outside of the game as well, kind of like Pokemon Go did for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, not every game has to be all encompassing.
Do you get a record? Like, do you, even though nothing happens to you if you lose, is there a place where you can actually just see like a total of your wins and losses for any,
Yes.
like all the matches you've played?
Not for the AI matches. It doesn't record those.
Yeah, for the other one,
But
for the
yeah,
against other
if you
people.
just play a person like your friend, it will under your profile picture where you can like pick your little catchphrase.
Mhm.
It'll have a button for your win-loss ratio.
Okay, got it. Then yes. Then
And I don't know if that like resets.
Say, otherwise, yeah, I don't know if you'd be able to do it if you didn't have a way to like see those ratios or something. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I hope we get a ladder at some point. But this right now, it's like it's just fun to learn the game, play the game, open packs, build decks, and be able to do that. I really do think that this can also push people into playing the TCG, whether that's physical or online. Like, I think this is a great stepping stone into that because it is so much like the TCG in a lot of ways, and in certain ways it's not, obviously. But I think it's a great stepping stone if people do eventually, or if they're like on the fence about wanting to play the TCG or try it out. It's like this is a great way to start. I will say the other complaint I have heard, and I don't know, I don't feel the same way, but like I know people were saying that they weren't as happy with like how random things are with when it comes to the supporter cards and stuff. So in order to make the game quicker,
no coin flips in my decks.
but like in order to make the game quicker, rather than like in the regular TCG, you know, if you have, I think it's Pokeball allows you to go search your deck and pull out a basic Pokemon, where in this game you randomly get a basic Pokemon from your deck and it gets put into your hand, right? And I know some people had a little bit of it's not really a complaint, more so just like, oh, this is different. Like I'd rather be able to go pick the Pokemon that I'm pulling out rather than it randomly get pulled. But I think that's just the nature of making it a quicker match. Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with that because, like I said, the matches are a good speed for me. But that is one other complaint that I heard.
Yeah, I mean it's a valid complaint. I don't know if I agree with it because it is a different game.
Yeah.
I
think it's more people who've like played the TCG and play it a certain way, and then they come and they're like, oh, it's different, more random in that way, which is fine. Yeah, like it's understandable.
Yeah, it's almost like the traditional raids versus the max raid battles. They're similar, but they're different.
Maybe, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. There wasn't a whole weekend of.
First, you gotta get 40 people together. Then we all open packs at the same time. Yeah, I really like it. I think that I think for sure it will have legs. And I imagine that it will be very much like a Pokemon Go situation where people will be like, "Oh, people still play that?" It's like, yep,
Yeah.
we still do. I just opened my 2 packs a day. Like, very, the bar is very low to play this game, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't speaking of games that take a lot of your time, Pokemon Go is one of them, so it's nice to not have a game. And that's cool. That's like super cool for people who like Pokemon Go. I mean, I love Pokemon Go, but it's like, have we had a weekend? I can't even remember the last weekend where there wasn't something Pokemon Go related.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while. But, and to your point, I think that's a good thing. And as someone who like was always a completionist for that stuff, like I was always like, oh, I've got to go do the event. I've got to make sure to get the timed research done. I got to make sure to do this. I think at some point I missed a couple.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a weight off my shoulders where I was like, I love this game, but if I don't want to play on Saturday and complete that timed research, that's okay. There's going to be another event next weekend that I can do because they're all over the place. And I actually love Pokemon Go for that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always like a week after like Go Fest or something where it's like, oh, they're repeating something. I'm going to skip this entire week. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, cool, they're repeating it for the people that missed it. I didn't, so I can skip.
Yeah. But unlike what's happening now, where we had the Halloween event until like tomorrow and then jumping into some Harvest Festival event like in like 4 days.
Yeah.
So it's Pokemon Go being Pokemon Go.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's our episode for you guys. We will be back next week. And then we have 3 weeks to the global Go event for Toxtricity, the wild area event. That's what it's called. It's November. I don't know if we're getting any ZA news at all. I think at this point we are pushing for Pokemon Day. I don't think we are getting a January ZA release. I said this earlier in the year. People didn't believe me.
At this point,
the TCG lineup looked a certain way earlier this year. It looks very different now. So, our opinions change. It's okay.
Yeah. I think if we are getting anything ZA, I think it's February. Maybe January. They have announced news in January before. But I think it's only shooting themselves in the foot if they do any news now when it's Christmas season. So people are like, what's the newest Pokemon game? Okay. I guess we'll get that.
Right. Yeah, I probably don't want to they probably want to market. Only things they want to market for the next like 2 months are things that you can go out and buy.
Yes.
Currently. So, yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, and I hear Hannah's getting a Greninja EX box under her tree this year, so
don't know who's doing that.
Merry Christmas to all. Okay, we'll be back next week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making it to the end. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Hannah. This has been another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super getting that TCG Pocket Premium Pass free trial and then seeing how it is.
Yes.
Effective.
I knew I'd convince you.